I'm a little mad, y'all. I can handle a lot of things, but, you know, I don't like the criticism of resellers when it's undue, and I certainly don't like being called a liar. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Commonwealth Flipper. I'll tell you what, I'm just going to forewarn you. I might get a little bit edgy today. Let's just call it that. Normally, I sugarcoat this when I talk about this in the video. I'm not going to sugarcoat it at all for a couple of reasons this time. I get a little excited about this, and it makes me mad. So let's go talk about it and some awesome sales. Let's go take a look. Now, I've got to do some picking, but let me start this video by just saying that some folks, and when I read these comments, you'll see what I'm saying, they just don't have any idea what a lot of folks out there, like me, like you, do all the time. Like, I'll just give you a little picture here. I'm trying to paint this whole picture, because there's a lot of comments, especially the ones that call me a liar. That's what makes me mad. You know, people that don't have the right impression because they don't do something, you know, that's fine. That's excusable. But when you go out in a state of really not understanding resellers and reselling, and you pop off and call people liars, that's where I have an issue. So let me just say this before I get going here. I've already put in an 8-hour day today, before I pick these items, before I ship these items, before I go out to that shed and deal with all the incoming. I've already put in an 8-hour day. I don't think people realize how much work goes into this, but there's a lot more to it than that. Let's go pick this first item. This actually might give a little bit more context when I start reading these comments right here. It might be a good place to jump off from. I'm looking for a briar horse. Should be in this bin, or this bin, somewhere. It's gotta be in here. I'm gonna find it. One of these 4 bins. Maybe it's this one. There it is, right there. I see it. And this is an item. I paid 10 cents for it. That's what the lady was asking. She's like, 10 cents for this briar horse. Actually, this might not even be the right one, but still the story applies. And I had never picked up a briar horse before until long after I started making YouTube videos. As a matter of fact, it was the Reseller rally in 21 is the first time I ever heard the word briar horse. It's because I just don't see them out my way very often. Now that I look at this one, it definitely isn't the one that I paid 10 cents for down in Roanoke, Virginia. This is one I got off of Lady Arbitrage. It sold for $19.95 plus shipping. I did get one for 10 cents that I sold for right around the same price. However, so the point still applies. But the fact is, I did not know briar horse. Some of you are out there like, oh my gosh, how do you not know briar horse? I don't know. I just never saw them. Or if I looked at that, I didn't think it would be worth a bunch of money for years and years and years. Matter of fact, the first time I think I heard anybody say anything about it was, I think it was Kayla at the Reseller rally way back when, because that's where they live out there, and that you find that stuff all the time. But I had never found it probably because I never knew about it. And that's one misconception that people have when they watch these videos that leads to comments like these. So I normally don't even read names here, but when somebody questions my, I don't know, authenticity, they call me a liar in essence without even saying it, I'm going to read it. Kathleen Armstrong says, seriously, acting like you don't know about these vases. Come on. And then there's 20 replies to that underneath, and that's what I'm going to get into. But this video was out, a week and a half ago or so. I actually toyed with the idea of calling it People Hate Me for Doing This at Garage Sales, because I knew this was coming. I titled it something else, and then it came, and I'm like, well, maybe we'll just title it that. Because people watch this stuff, and they do hate people who can get a deal out there and flip something for a profit. And they don't understand the work that goes into it. And more importantly, they don't understand the cost of finding these things. And I'm going to give you some context here, and then we're going to get into the details of the cost of doing business for Kathleen so she understands. And just maybe she won't think I'm a liar like she stated in her comment. Well, she didn't call me a liar, but pretty much she did. But like I said, I do have some items I have to pick today and ship. And I'll just kind of mix in my... I'm a little mad, y'all. I can handle a lot of things, but, you know, I don't like the criticism of resellers when it's undue, and I certainly don't like being called a liar. Here's a Sanyo VCR. And so this video goes out on behalf of me and other resellers like me, to Kathleen, to all those other commenters who said the same thing, and to the 16 people who hearted that comment. This Sanyo Good condition, but it's not a high-end brand. It sold for $35 plus shipping. On a side note, before I read my reply, this is a good example that we'll talk about a little bit later about items that you buy at yard sales that you bring home and test and they end up not working. And I have thrown out 2 in the last 6 months, which is really good. A lot of times, you know, I buy these all the time, but, you know, I'd say 20% of the VCRs or DVD VCR combos that you pick up are worthless, unless you're going to sell them for parts, and then it's like, do you really want to do that? Slow sell through, not a lot of money, hard to ship, and so I usually just discard them. My AC just turned on back there, and the audio stinks when I do that. So here's my initial comment. This was an early commenter, and so my reply was, my guess was that there was 2 swung vases and another vase which I knew nothing about, and then there was something that it was Blanco, and I knew Blanco was good, but it turned out to be a lot better than I thought it was as well. Many of you saw that video. If you didn't, go check it out. Here's the video right there. You can go check it out. And my reply was, my guess, I put a question mark, because I was like, really? You're calling me a liar here. My guess was the 2 swung vases were $40 to $50 a piece, which if you know swung vases, that's a lot of them sell for that much. Matter of fact, I just sold one for $39.95, and I gave them a 5% offer just a couple months ago, right? I'm not a glass expert, just like I'm still not an expert on Breyer horses. I'm not an expert on all kinds of stuff, for that matter. My guess was the 2 swung vases were $40 to $50 a piece. The other one could have been worthless, meaning the other vase. I knew nothing about it. It literally could have been worthless. Sorry you don't believe me, but it's the truth. And so I did get 13 thumbs up, so at least some people believed me out there. Did have a nice sale here. I probably undersold it by 10%. I did not list this one. This is one of Bubba's fiance's last listings, and I mean, she did a great job for us, so I'm not complaining. But this one, looking at the comps, were rising over the last month, and she took into account some of the ones that had gone last month or on auction and stuff. But lately, these are selling for around $325, $330. And this one seems like it's not even the right one. So I'm going to have to find the right one. It's got to be the other one right here. It's this one right here. Some V-Friends cards. I might post this one up here in a picture too, because I don't want to take it out. And we've made good money on these, considering how we got them through a process. And this sold for $300 plus shipping. Here's another comment under that thread that replied to Kathleen's up there. WDUJ say, I got the same impression. He does this full time, as do others. They know what things are worth. I started 3 years ago, very part-time, and I knew they were worth more than $30 to $50. Could have given her more. Plus, she wrapped them as well. Okay. So, and I replied to that one. I'll go through some of these comments, but I want to give some context to this first. And if you're a reseller, like you said you were, you started very part-time 3 years ago, you should know that you might know what those are. And I knew what they were. I knew they were swung vases. I knew they were a deal. But I didn't know they were as good as they were, is my point. And that's what I said. I think I said it in the video. And the asking price on these 4 items was $1. She said $1 for them. And I ended up giving her $20 for them. So total, $5 a piece. And that was my decision. To be perfectly honest with you, everything I'm going to say here, that doesn't even matter. That was just my personal decision. If some picker was out there and she said $1 and you paid him $1 for it, more power to you. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. But I did, just for context's sake, I gave her 5 times on each item what she was asking. Next little lot here is just a little Beatles lot. Nothing absolutely amazing in it, but we're not into it for too much. So we sold it for, I think, $18.95 for a book and a couple of books. I don't even remember what's in it, plus shipping. By the way, we're going to announce some giveaway winners from previous videos in this video, so stick around and we'll probably do another giveaway as well. So more context, people should have been aware of this in the video if they were watching it, but you know, whatever. This was I always say escape from the interstate sale, but it's take a break from the interstate sale. My alarm's going off. Just to remind me about a Bonanza sale, which I'm not shipping out today. So This was Highway 21. This is actually from a month or so ago. Actually, it was more than that at this point. The videos sometimes come out later. I put new ones in and put some old ones in and mix it up. But this sale was quite a ways away from my house. So for more context, in my mind, and some of you resellers understand this as well, if you have to travel for sourcing and try to make a living with the cost of the travel as well. So I had gone, it probably cost $100 in gas. My buddy Mike, Death Pile Picker, came up because it was before the 127 sale. He was going to hit that one with me, come back, spend a few days, then we're going to head out to the other one. So he came up. We drove all the way out there at the absolute crack of dawn. Like, I don't know what time he left, like 5 a.m. or something like that. And we drove all the way out there, spent gas, spent money on food. Turner got to go with us, which was really cool, which is kind of the point of the trip, because I don't get to take him out on the road too often, and that was close enough. Bought food all day, of course. Got a hotel room that night. And before we went to the hotel room, you saw at the end of the video, I took Turner out for pizza. Always trying to find, there's one of two things I do. I do use the Upside app so I can save money during the day. I do that often. There's a link down below if you want to use that. It's amazing. I do ads on the Commonwealth Picker channel for it, but you can check that out down below. It's really saved me quite a bit of money. Or if I don't do that, I try to find a local place. You know, when they have these highway sales and stuff, a lot of times it's, you know, the local chamber of commerce chips in and does all this stuff. And I like to try to support those people in the community who have businesses. That's a personal choice as well. Most people don't have the, you know, it's you find the cheapest food, the cheapest gas, do whatever, but I like to do that in those communities, especially that community in particular, which in the last month or so has been hit heavy. Western Virginia down in that area got hit by that storm pretty bad too, not just North Carolina. It wasn't near as bad, of course, but they got hit as well. So back to the context here. So you add all that stuff up, I'm probably $325 into this trip before I bought my first item. And it just so happens that my buddy Mike, we checked into the hotel that night late, or not too late, I guess, but somewhat late after dinner. And he had, I don't think he'd mind me saying this, I think I might have said it before, his father-in-law was on his deathbed at this point, and he got a phone call saying, hey, I'd like you to come home and see me before I go. And so we were already in the hotel. We packed our stuff up. We went home. We didn't even get to stay in the hotel. We didn't even get to stay for the next day of sales. So in reality, you know, it worked out really, really good that those items were far better than I thought. I thought I had maybe, I don't know, $175 to maybe $225 worth of items right there. That's what I thought in my head. When I got home, did the research, talked to the right people, I realized I had a little bit more than that, because 3 of those 4 items I could not even find a comp for. So I set those comps. I think 3 of the 4 items have sold. 1 of them has not. But just those 4 items barely dug me out of the hole for that trip. Now, I bought a lot of other stuff, so we ended up doing okay. But those items helped me out. Here's another item. I could talk about this in context as well. I probably won't too much, but this was a rainbow vacuum cleaner that I paid $50 for, which is way more than I want to pay for something like this. Now, it was a full vacuum cleaner with the hoses and all of it. It wasn't just this. Something I could part out into 5 or 6 different pieces. But I paid $50 because it was at a thrift store and I was in need of merchandise. I had been running low, and I was out with Turner at one of his tournaments, and I'm like, yeah, I guess I need merchandise. I'll go ahead and buy it. This one sold for over $70. So after fees and everything, we're going to be barely in the profit on this. And the 2 hoses and the wand and the adapter, all that stuff is where we're going to make our money. And that goes to something I want to talk about a little later, which is arbitrage, right? I don't mind paying a little bit more at a thrift store. They're paying for a lease. You know, they have employees. It was a mom and pop thrift store. They were good folks. I didn't mind paying that. And the same thing applies when you're at these highway sales a lot of times. And you'll see regular garage sales, and then you'll see the vendors. And there's extreme expense into traveling. If you're a vendor out there, you know what I'm talking about. There's not just expense for the traveler who's going to these events. There's expense for the merchants there as well. I don't mind paying up a little bit at those places as well. I'm not going to pay so much I can't make a profit. But, you know, hey, You kind of got to buy where the arbitrage is. You got to figure it out and figure out where those individual sellers are comfortable at. And a garage sale, a true garage sale, and they said in the video, $1, we just want it gone. We're just trying to clear out stuff. That I have no problem paying the asking price ever. And in this case, I decided to pay more. I just felt like I wanted to. That was a personal decision. I didn't think I had to. I didn't have to. I could have paid $1. I just felt like for those folks that I wanted to pay a little bit more because I knew they were worth, you know, a couple $100. Turns out they're worth $400. I'm just going to show you this next sale because I don't want to go get my ladder right now. But that Dick Tracy tin, popcorn tin, vintage one right there sold for $29.99 plus shipping. By the way, I just looked. I don't see a lot of viewer sales, but I do see 2 repeat buyers in here. This one was to Joanne, so you may be a viewer, so Joanne, thank you. And that one was to Ed, so thank you, Ed. So here's some irony. If you go down and read the rest of the comments in there, there's a ton of people. By the way, this is an area that has little to no internet service. This is out in Appalachia. This is out in the middle of nowhere. Hardly any cell phone signal, all up and down, especially in the northern parts of this sale, which is where I was. There was hardly any. I don't even know if I had one there or not, or if it was the kind where you do it and it'd wait like 5 minutes for it was load, but it had very little internet service. Okay, and a lot of us, if you're honest out there, depend on that to really gain knowledge about items. And while I knew those were worth money, I didn't know they were worth as much as they were. But even if I did, I don't think I did anything dishonest, period. Because I know what goes into it. We're talking about 4 large glass pieces here. There are people that would pass that up just simply because they don't want to deal with the labor involved, the work involved, the risk involved as well. So there's other issues that a lot of these folks don't get. But here's one from Darcy, and she said, this is not a negative comment, said the leather wallet was Patricia Nash. I had apparently passed over this. I picked up a wallet and set it down. I said, never heard of that or something like that, because I'd never heard of it. And there are tons of comments like, how could you not know Patricia Nash and whatever? And that goes right to my point. While resellers know a lot, they don't know everything. And that's what I said in the video. And I simply don't know everything. And I'm comfortable with that. I'm comfortable learning. Now maybe I'll know Patricia Nash since all of you have pointed that out. And I guess I should have picked that one up. It is stink bug season, so if you can hear these things, there's three or 4 on my roof here. Annalie Christmas Dog, put this over on dibdit.com as deal of the day. And who grabbed it? Julie, JW Fines, grabbed it for $7.95 plus shipping, which is under the eBay value. It's what we're putting when we do deal of the days over there. And y'all, these are being bought as soon as we're posting them. So if you're going over to look for the next deal of the day, it's almost always gone, because we're a day or 2 or 3 delayed for these videos, or 4 sometimes. So go check those out, and you'll see the deals of the day on dibdit.com before the video comes out posting the deal of the day. So maybe I could wait, but I don't know. This seems to take time. That's a cool little Annalie Christmas dog. Thank you, Julie. I don't know if I listed this on eBay or not yet, but if I did, I'll take it down. It'll become the deal of the day over on dibdit.com. It's Baroness. I want to get back to the items that sold and get back to the topic at hand, because I've got a lot more to say about it. But I want to do these giveaways before I forget. On previous videos, this was on a picker video, and it was an Eternia 80stees.com tee. That's going to Mary Chabot. Chabot, I don't know how to pronounce that. CHABOT 618. Send me an email, commonwealthpicker@gmail.com. And what's the other one? Flipper in a Man Ornament. Actually, it's the Flipper channel. And it's what do I do with the dumb thing? Here it is, right here. This right here, we're giving this one away, a little Inaman Christmas ornament. And that one, it's the ladies' day today. This one is going to Patricia Gonzalez, 2389. I think it's disproportionate the women win these things, because my audience, my analytics says that 54% of the audience are male and 46% are female. But it seems like the women always win. Maybe it's because they're commenting on it. I don't know. At any rate, here we go. Patricia, you can send me a message at commonwealthpicker@gmail.com. Do I have any more giveaways right here? Nope, it doesn't look like I do. However, 80s Tees, I think my wife's got a Shira shirt she's going to bring out later in this video. I hope. Maybe it'll be on the next video, but we'll give another 80stees.com t-shirt away. I like to sell massagers because the perceived value of them is low by a lot of garage sellers. And this is not the high end here. The Dr. Scholl's one is not always the best, but if I can pay it out for $1, so I do, because they go for around, this particular one goes for around $15 plus shipping. Hey, I saw something else on my list that I don't want to forget, but I still want to get back to this topic, read some more comments, make some more commentary. But somebody sent me a message that really clicked with me. They're like, you know, all these people that have experienced these natural disasters and these power outages. I mean, just here, we had a tornado down the road a little bit, maybe 15 minutes from here, that wasn't terribly devastating. There was one that took out a whole road and tons of houses about 40 minutes south of here. This was, you know, weeks back, of course. And so even for my area, which was relatively unaffected, completely unaffected compared to the different areas that really, really suffered damage, a lot of those people are resellers just like us in those territories, in those areas. And somebody said, you know what, maybe we should provide some way for those people once they get back up on track to promote their store, to make up for lost time and to start generating revenue again. I thought that's a great idea. So I'm going to hopefully talk to Chris over there, New Jersey Picker, who runs our Trash to Cash Facebook group. And I would love for him to get those people and put a post up for those affected power outages and lack of sales and just the devastation, to put their stores, if they're up and running or when they get up and running, in that post. And maybe some of us can look for things that we would typically buy anyways for holiday gifts and stuff like that. You know, Christmas gifts for your kids or whatever. Look for those things in their store. I'll give you an update on that once I talk to Chris. But go check out the Trash to Cash Reseller Facebook group, and that's where we'll do that. Sold an Acura Windbreaker, vintage, made in the USA, and this one sold for $24.95 plus shipping. Here we have a guest in here. We haven't seen you in a while, Pepper. Hi. How are you? No dogs out here today, just Pepper. You coming out because that new cat? You don't like that new cat, do you? Nah. By the way, I just thought of something. For those of you out there who are willing to sell live or on dibdit.com, if you have been particularly hurt by these natural disasters and you find yourself in a place, if you're a reseller who's been affected, that you want to come on, I'd be willing to coordinate with some folks on dibdit.com lives when I go live over there to bring you on as a seller to sell with me. If you think it might be helpful, you have to be a seller over on Dibdit. So if you want to do that, you can reach out over there on the District app and contact me over there. Here's another comment, and then there were some comments about a different item earlier in the video where I got the same criticism. I'm going to pull that item and tell you, you know, I got people telling me I was full of baloney for that one too. And that's simply not true. So if you're going to call me out and call me a liar, I'm going to do the same back to you. This one has a little bit to do. This is who gave this one. Dead Hamster 76 said this, and this was in response to the previous one. So I guess that was WDUJ say. So this is in response to their comment. I was thinking the same thing. He does this for a living. He knows what things sell for. Crooked people. So first of all, it's sell for. But secondly, you know, and I responded to you, there's nothing crooked about. I'll tell you what. I'm going to get the other item because we've already discussed this one and discuss what I was thinking in my mind. You can forget what you think and call me a liar if you want to, but I'll tell you exactly what I was thinking. I hardly ever film in here, but I want to show you something here. These are all the jackets that I have listed, not sold. I'm making this point for all the folks out there on their high horse. I want to make another one as well that I think is relevant to this situation. So this sold right here, members only. This sold for $23.75 plus shipping. And it's just a plain Jane gray one, but it's in good condition, so I picked it up for a couple of bucks. Here's the other item in that video. This is a Chief starter jacket right here. When I saw it, I got super excited because it was a garage sale. I'm like, oh, I'm going to ask her how much she wants for it and see how much it sells for. You can see right here, it's got a little hole in it as well. And see if we can get it cheap, right? $3, $4, $5, something like that. She put $20 on it, and I'm like, ugh. I'm thinking in my mind, this issue here, this is a $40 jacket. It's not going to be a crazy good jacket. She's like, oh, it's worth $100 or whatever. I'm like, okay. And I said, listen, I'll give you 15, and I don't even want to give you that, but I'll give you 15 for it. And she hemmed and hawed, but she said yes, so I took the jacket. When I got back in the car, see, I had also saw that it had no tag, and I'm like, that's no good. That hurts the resale value, and it doesn't have that tag in it. So I'm thinking, I'm not going to pay $20 for a $40 jacket. And I get in the car and I realize right here that the tag is in the pocket. Whenever you see the tag in the pocket, it's because it's a reversible jacket. And then all of a sudden the value went up in my mind. I posted it for $100, hoping to get maybe $50 to $75, $80 for it. Maybe if I'm lucky, somebody buys it for 99 bucks. And so, boy, people tore me up for that one as well. But absolutely everything that I said was the truth. And I did not want to pay $20 for it. I'm glad I didn't pay $20 for it. With this right here, this is a V-neck. This is not the big puffer jacket. These things aren't insane. I bet you, it hasn't sold yet. I bet you I'll sell this for $50 to $75 in the end. So this leads me to 2 points. I'm going to make this one first, and then I'm going to talk to the resellers out there who know exactly what I'm saying right here. You don't know all the time, and you do know the costs involved in reselling, the effort involved in reselling, and you certainly know that everything doesn't always sell quick. You just saw my coat closet in there. Some of those have been in there for more than a year, right? And they will eventually sell, and I've been selling a lot of coats lately, but there are some stuff that just sits for a long time. But here's the one that I always do, especially on Facebook. I always put this reply when somebody, you should have given them more, you should have done this, or you're an awful person, or you're terrible, whatever. And I get that stuff all the time. And I don't almost always, but I often put this, especially on Facebook, because those people aren't resellers. A lot of them aren't. Some of them are. I'll put on there, hey, you know what? You know, you sound like a very charitable person or whatever. And I'll put something like for instance, what's going on right now with all these disasters and stuff are going on the last month or so. I might say, hey, I'll donate $1,000 or $500 or $100. I change it up to this charity if you'll match it. And I've put that out there dozens of times, maybe 30 or 40 times. You know how many times I've got a reply saying, yeah, that sounds like a great idea? Zero. Absolutely zero. These people sit on their high horses and criticize resellers out there for making a living for their family, for their kids, for carving out their way of life, and they're not willing to give a dime. I oftentimes say, hey, I'll give you their address if you want to give them the money, right? And people are generous with other people's money. They want me to pay more, but would they pay more is the question. And some people would. Don't get me wrong. And some of you out there listening would. And I don't criticize you for that at all. That's your personal choice. But charity is a personal choice. This is business, and you can be charitable in your business. You see us do it often. We love to do it. But that's not personal. That's your business. You can do that. You can make that choice. And what you do personally, I try to keep that off the camera. But people don't know me. They have no idea. These people who make these comments have no idea what we do. And I don't like to toot our own horn, so I don't say it. But I just will tell you right now, if anybody whose name I mentioned today wants to donate and match $500 to send to those communities where those yard sales were, I'll match it. I gotta go in to find a shirt since we got no dogs in the video. I don't know what them lazy dogs are doing. Thought we'd say hi to No Name too. Here's another example. This shirt's been hanging around a long time, probably around a year. Finally sold at 30% off. $17 and change, I think. $17.46 for a new, it's Russell, so it's not a great brand, but it's brand new. Liberty Flames shirt plus shipping. All right, so I just made a little list for those of you who aren't resellers out there. And most of you, if you watch this show, you get it anyways. But listen, I've already talked a little bit about how, you know, where things are being sold. You know, I have sympathy for folks, you know, antique booth owners and stuff who own the actual place, who are leasing the building out. You have costs, right? I expect to pay a little bit more there. I don't expect to haggle too much there, although there are times that it's possible, and it's probably good for both the seller and the buyer. And I do the same for all those who load up all their stuff and travel hundreds of miles to these highway sales and sleep in their campers and sleep in their cars and do all that. I get that. That's a way of life. I'm a garage sale picker, and that's my way of life. I'm not unaware of the costs of doing business. I know what it costs me to do business. I know what it costs, for relatively speaking, even though I don't do it. I know the mileage and the travel and renting a space and all that. And I respect all those folks who are trying to get a little bit more because their costs are higher than the yard seller out there, and for the people who are clearing out stuff. So where you buy, and I even have some sympathy for Goodwill, for instance. They have leases and they have employees. However, they do get their stuff for free, so I don't have that much sympathy. But you get the point, right? And I'm not deaf to those kind of things. Just like I like to support people in the community. And I know resellers, and I know a lot of them want to get the best deal because they know the struggle to make a living. And when things sit and when sales are bad, you got to buy stuff cheap. But I also know those resellers are great people, and I see them behind the scenes, even YouTube resellers who don't toot their own horn about all the things that they do for charity and for different things. I've seen it, and I do it myself. And some of it we do as a business. I will toot our own horn as a business, and I give people credit because they've contributed to the business side of it, and that money goes to charity. The personal stuff we try to keep off of here for the most part. I sometimes bring it up because I get bitter when I'm being called a cheapskate and all those things, when I know what my family does. I know what I do behind the scenes for folks as well. And I'm not perfect by any stretch, and I'm sure I've let some people down out there. Some people who are still listening, so my apologies, but we get requests like crazy, and we try to do our best. So, anyway, off my high horse. You know, if you're selling at a yard sale and you're trying to get $100 for the, well, she was trying to get 20, but she said it's worth 100. It's not worth 100. Matter of fact, I just lowered it in between clips here to 80, and I bet it doesn't sell at 80 because of this issue right here. And like I said, my hopes was somewhere between 50 and 75, and we'll see if we can get that. But there are so many expenses. You know, when you're selling at a yard sale, you're not paying taxes on that stuff. You know, you're not paying the cost for shipping material. You're not paying the fees on the sale, on the shipping, on fees on the taxes. You're not paying the income taxes at a yard sale. You're not doing any of that stuff. So we are out there essentially as personal shoppers, bringing this stuff, trying to make enough to make a living off of this, or maybe not make a living. Maybe some of you are doing it because you love it like me. But there is expense to it. There are things that don't sell. We have to give refunds if somebody's not happy. You're selling at a garage sale, you don't got to do that. There's all kinds of things like that. Hey, if you want yard sale, if you want to get eBay prices at yard sales, then take the item out of the yard sale and sell it on eBay. By the way, I'd say the same thing to Goodwill. If you want eBay prices, then list it on eBay. Because I just, and look, it's their business. They can do what they want. And I truly mean that. But I think you're making a decision, a bad decision economically, cutting the middleman out of some of these retail stores. By the way, Goodwill shut down another one of these rural stores the other day. They keep shrinking them, and they're basically becoming donation drop-off places. They're not even serving those rural communities anymore. I think these are just bad economic decisions in the long run, but we shall see. Hadn't been bad so far because they're building like palatial Goodwills in some of these cities. They're crazy. Husky tool belt. I think they wanted like, I think they wanted $10. And I'm like, I'll give you 5. I didn't want to give them 10 for it. And it sold for 25. $25.95. So 10 into $25.95 is not that much profit, y'all. It just isn't. It's about $10. So you spend 10 and get 10. That's not the end of the world. I might have done it, but it makes me feel a lot better if I can spend 5 and make 15 off of an item, which is what we did here. $25.95 plus shipping. And they don't think of the other side of the equation as well, which is here. This guy here, he's not a viewer. He's not going to hear this. But Paulo Henrique Venancio just got a little bit better deal on a new item than he would have paid at the store. This would have probably been $45 to $50. So there's that trail end buyer as well that benefits from this stuff. So, you know, there's not just one person involved in this. There's multiple steps. So, any rate, let me get the kids in here for a second, and then I'll make a few more closing comments. All right, we got Reagan here, and nothing sold. Well, actually, something sold on CommonwealthPicker.com, but we're going to do that one tomorrow. But we did get a sale of a merch item on DibDip.
Kathy Ann Treasures got a DibDip bag. Yep,
thank you to Yvonne. We appreciate you. Here's the DibDip bag. That's only for sale over there on DibDip because, I don't know, who'd want a DibDip bag if they weren't on DibDip, right? So thank you, Kathy Ann. Appreciate it.
Bye, and don't forget to get your stickers at CommonwealthPicker.com.
And I wanted to do something else, too, that I've been meaning to do for a while. My Reseller Genie bag, they sent us a few of these. So what we're going to do with this one is we're going to put it over on DibDip.com. and we're gonna put best offer on it. I'm gonna put like $100 on it. I don't think anybody's gonna pay $100. So if you do, I'll donate it all to one of the groups helping the victims down in North Carolina or in Florida at this point. But if you don't, then go over there and put $1 offer on this item. Just offer $1 for it, and then I'm gonna pick one person who gets a nice big giant My Reseller Genie bag for $1. And that'll be over there on dibdit.com. And don't forget, My Reseller Genie, it's not too late, y'all. Y'all, you can do it now. You can sign up for My Reseller Genie. Use the link below or on commonwealthpicker.com, or use code Commonwealth when you sign up. And they will take care of all the stuff already that's happened this year and get you ready for tax season. We'll do some more videos on that in the future. Love these folks. Good folks over at My Reseller Genie. So check it out, dibdit.com, $1. Our turn's got some Commonwealth comedy. We're getting close to Halloween. What do you got?
What does a panda ghost eat?
What does a panda ghost eat? I don't know what.
Bamboo.
Very good.
Bye.
Hey, I'm at a private pick, an abandoned house. I'm waiting for someone to show up with the key, actually. And I just remembered, because I'm editing this video you're watching now, that we have a live show on shopcommons.net. Live wholesale lot auctions. I'm going to be there selling, and then a bunch of other sellers as well. Come and check it out, even if you're not interested in buying necessarily, just to come check it out. Shopcommons.net, 12 o'clock Eastern time, Tuesday. By the way, there was, as always, you guys are always so gracious to us, always some great comments over there in that video as well. I just want to read one really quick. Bodega Finds, you're awesome, by the way. Hey, don't sweat it. As resellers, we know the game. Sometimes you win big. And I needed to win big just to cover those costs, because we didn't even get to go out the next day, and we still had the cost of the hotel and the gas and all the stuff. But they said, but we did okay. Don't get me wrong. Keep doing your thing. The naysayers have probably done the same. They just didn't have a camera rolling, I suppose. Stay focused and keep hustling. So that is true. There is a lot of truth to that. And that's why I take the, you missed that wallet thing. I take it as an education. Because I do know that I don't know everything, and 99% of resellers out there know that about themselves as well. I've learned so much from so many different resellers on YouTube, and it's been a tremendous benefit to my business. And I like to think I've done the same, like with the purple ab roller or something, or ashtrays that you shouldn't pick up, or the few Tupperware items you should pick up. But at any rate, I appreciate y'all as always. Let me know what you think. Be honest. You can even tell me if I shouldn't have done this video. I'm sure there'll be a lot of, don't give these people attention. It's what they want and whatever. And that's true most of the time. However, I like to defend this business because I love it so much, and I know how hard you guys work because I know how hard I work out there. All types of reselling, antique booths, people that travel and sell these highway sales. We always criticize the vendors out there and whatever, but that's hard work and not a lot of money. So, thrift store owners, private thrift store owners, all that stuff. There's a lot of work involved in all types of reselling. It's part of the reason why I started shopcommons.net, to be honest with you, because I know the cost in hauling this stuff all over the country and going to these sales. It might benefit some of those folks who are constantly getting tons of merchandise and they want to get rid of stuff quick because they need liquidity in order to do these things. They need to pay for hotels. They need to pay for gas. They need to pay for spots. And that's part of the reason why I started Garage Sale Nation, because I want these things to stay around forever. There are countries around the world, Europe and stuff. I wish we had sales like this. I wish we had this. I want to have it forever here as well. And it's one big network. And we should help each other out when we can and be generous when we can. So there we go. At any rate, thanks for joining us. Tell me in the comments below what you think, and I can't wait to see you next time. Y'all, come on. The shipping's done. We gotta go in. Come on. All right.